So now that we've created all the financial statements, one thing that you want to think about is how to analyze them and how to really start to use them to manage your business. Because the whole point of this stuff is not just to create them, but to actually use things and to become managers and owners of businesses, not just workers. So 3 things that we want to think about. Why is it important? Ways to do it, and then one of the ways to do it is ratios, so we want to talk about what ratios are and how to use them. So why financial statement analysis? We really want to detect problems in our operation and then be able to find the causes of those problems. And another way to look at it is also to see trends. Are we getting better or are we getting worse? And so sometimes we haven't reached a problem situation yet, so we want to see, well, are we getting worse, and so is this something that we want to start thinking about? Or even though we might not be great, are we getting better? And even if your business is operating well, a lot of times you don't want to just stay the same every year, because eventually you'll decline. So we want to see, are we getting better at things over time? So some methods, we can compare across time. This is really just looking at multiple years and comparing them. We can compare to an average, what years were above, what years were below. We can look for trends, the direction the business is headed. We can look for increases and decreases just from year to year. Has it gone up? Has it gone down? Do what-if analysis. So prepare pro forma financial statements. And pro forma financial statements are a big word to really just say we're projecting into the future. And so you're preparing a financial statement in advance, saying what's it going to look like this next year or 2 years from now or whenever you're doing it for. And then as you actually operate your business, compare what actually happened during that year to what you projected. And that can be used to monitor and control your business. Another thing that you can do is just look at the statements and see what they say. Look at the balance sheet and see, well, what's happening to our assets? What's happening to our liabilities? What's happening to owner's equity? The income statement, oh, we have revenue from these sources. This is what's happening. So just really kind of take a look at them and see, kind of what jumps out at you. What can you learn from the business? Another way of doing it is the ratios, and you've all done financial ratios in the past, and so we're not going to go over how to calculate each and every one, but more just we're now going to talk about what do they really mean. So ratios are, you've got a lot of numbers on all those financial statements, and ratios are a way of finding relationships between those numbers, and so really kind of getting a quick peek or a quick look at the financial statements. They're divided up into categories. Profitability ratios say, are we making money? Liquidity ratios talk about, can we meet financial obligations? They're going to deal with short-term financial obligations, current liabilities, and short-term sources of cash, current assets, and compare the two. Solvency, for a lender, it can be how can assets cover debt under a foreclosure situation. And so that's looking at the total assets that we have compared to the liabilities, the obligations that the firm has. It also is a way to compare the firm's financial progress over time. Is it becoming more solvent, or is it gaining wealth? Coverage and repayment capacity looks at the ability to service all debts and or make investments. So can we cover just the interest? Can we cover the debt, the principal payments? Do we have money available for investments? Efficiency looks at how efficient is our production. How do our costs compare to the size of our operation, to our revenue? So it's really looking at, are we an efficient operation? Are we cost effective? So those are the different ratios. You've used them a lot of different times in past classes is my guess. And so there is really kind of art and science to ratios. You can compare the business to itself and see, look for trends. You can compare the business to benchmarks. You can find different ones online. You compare the business to industry averages. The benefit is to keep from getting bogged down in the numbers and help focus your thinking, but really ratios are just a place to start. If they highlight an issue, then you want to go to the underlying numbers that make up that formula and say, well, what was going on here? And so it's just a way to kind of help us get a feel for it. So here's our big cautionary thing to think about. By themselves, the measures don't provide the answers. They only guide you in areas to look for more information. So just because a current ratio says it's a 0.9, that doesn't really say what's going on here. It just tells you, you know what, you might have a liquidity issue. Go back and find out what's happening with current assets, what's happening with current liabilities, and other things. And so it's just a way to measure or focus your thinking. Sometimes a liquidity issue can be that we've got too many principal payments scheduled up front, and really we need to stretch those principal payments out over multiple years. Some of those, instead of being current liabilities, should be a non-current liability. So that ends our discussion of ratios and financial statement analysis. Now we're going to show you how to do it on your spreadsheet.